Welcome to this edition of Fabric Spotlight. Today we will be reviewing DTY fabric, which is a knit fabric. So the characteristics of this DTY knit fabric is one, it's a knit. It's a double jersey knit fabric. Okay, so instead of it being in a single layer, which has that characteristic of a thin sheer fabric, it's double, basically two put together. Okay, it has a definite right or wrong side. It's very soft. It has an excellent drape. It's cool and it's thicker than the single layer jersey. It has a suede like feel on both sides. It's typically double brushed, so it feels soft, like I said, on both sides. If you already know how to do my sew-alongs and videos, and if you'll be kind enough to watch at least one ad, should it appear, which enables me to keep bringing you free content, feel free to skip ahead to go straight to the pattern spotlight. Skip ahead to the 4-minute, 15-second mark. Here's a little bit about how I do my Sew With Me sew-alongs.
Techniques, I'm going to put it on the website and I will reference it in the sew-along itself. So for example, we're working on a pair of pants that has a fly front. So when we get to that portion in the sew-along, I'll do a little bit of it, in instructions in the sew-along itself, but then I'm going to refer you over to the website to go ahead and look at that video, that particular video, look it over, study it, do your own sample if you want, because I'm big on that technique binder. So go ahead and and do that, and then once you get a good hang of what that technique is, then come back onto the sew-along itself and do that particular technique with the sew-along. So that way we both kind of benefit. You still get the instruction of the actual sew-along, step by step of how to do a particular thing. But it's less editing on my part because, like I said, I'll mention it in the sew-along itself, but then I'll refer you over to the website to actually find that particular technique and go ahead, review it, look at it. And then once you master it or enough to where even you sew along, at the same time and install it in that particular sew-along that you're doing at that time. So hopefully that will be okay for you, because I think I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank everyone for watching my videos. I love to upload the videos. I love to share my knowledge. And I'm pretty sure that you guys love to get free content. So in order for me to keep uploading free content, I just need you to do some simple things for me, some very simple things. The first thing is just to hit the subscribe button. So just make sure that you hit that. So you're subscribed to my channel. Hit the notification bell so when I upload a new video, you don't miss out and you get to see it. And then also, if there's an ad on my videos, they're typically anywhere from 10 seconds to maybe up to 2 minutes. Just go ahead and either watch it or do something else you want to do in those in that particular time that ad is running. So use the restroom, go get something to drink or something like that. Because that way, if you let that ad run, I benefit from YouTube, and that way I can still keep creating content and uploading it for free. Okay. Enough of that boring stuff. Back to the sew-along. Please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And also hit the notification bell so you don't miss any uploads. Thanks again and keep on watching. So let's look at some of the properties of this fabric. So first I'm laying it against the blue background to check for opaqueness. And as you can see, you cannot see the blue background or the checkered mark, so it is opaque. Now I'm checking for, this is the lengthwise grain, checking for stretch. So I'm folding it along the lengthwise. Now I'm counting down to 4.
See how much it stretches? And it stretches about 1 inch. Okay, now I'm checking against the crosswise grain. Here I'm telling you where the crosswise is. So I'm going perpendicular to that crosswise. Count down 4 again. Stretching, and that goes to about 2.5 inches. And you see the recovery on both ends, the lengthwise and crosswise, was very good. Basically went back to its original. This is checking the drape. Now if it falls basically on itself, that means it has excellent drape. And as you see, I'm letting it go and it's basically piling up on itself. So it has excellent drape. All right, now we're checking for translucent, which means if it lets light through. And you can barely see my hand. So I would say it lets light through because you can kind of see my hand. Now I'm checking to see if it falls close to the body when worn. So you see I'm holding it up and letting it go, and it falls directly to my arm. So yes, it falls close to the body when worn. Now I'm just showing you that this particular fabric has a definite right side and a definite wrong side. So. All right, let's talk a little bit more about how to sew with this particular fabric. So of course the fabric is DTY, which is a knit. So the type of needle you're going to need a stretch needle, also known as a jersey. You're going to want to use 100% poly thread. And your machine stitch settings should either be a narrow zigzag with the settings length at 2.5, width at 0.5, or a stretch stitch. And of course, if you have a serger, you can sew all your knits with a serger. Would you use a walking foot for this type of fabric? Yes, a walking foot is recommended. How do you pre-treat your fabric, or do you dry clean it? So it's up to you. If you dry clean it, that's the way you're going to have to treat it as a finished garment. But what I usually do, and what comes with this care instructions, is just a gentle wash. So I wash mine in cold water and tumble dry low. So I do my on gentle cycle. The cutting method, you want to definitely use a rotary cutter to help with the shifting of the fabric. You can put tissue paper underneath prior to you cutting. And if all possible, you want to cut in a single layer. The marking tools and techniques you want to use, you want to use chalk or chalk pens. You want to avoid using marking pens like your air, what is it called? Air pens or water dissolvable pens, things of that nature. You want to avoid that. You just want to stick with chalk and chalk pens. Ironing tips, you want to most definitely use a pressing cloth when you sew, when you iron, sorry. Interfacing, you want to use a fusible knit interfacing. You want to make sure it is for knits because you want to be able to keep that stretch, in your garment. Seam finish and hemming, you want to use fusible hem tape, or you can use stitch witchery. And that's probably the best thing to use, I would say, unless you can find some fusible hem tapes that stretch, or that stitch witchery stretches with your fabric. So you can use it for hems, stabilizers, things like that, and it still stretches with the garment, so it doesn't lose that stretch. And it's very lightweight, so it doesn't change the silhouette of your garment or your fabric, and the weight of your fabric. It does not change that. So any special tricks for cutting or sewing? I would say we already went over the cutting. Really, there's nothing more for that. But for sewing, I would use a single fold hem. Single fold basically is, with a knit, you don't have to necessarily finish the raw edge because it does not fray. But if you want to, go ahead and finish that raw edge. Fold up, single layer, whatever your hem allowance is, and then you're going to stitch where you finish that raw edge, close to where you finish that. And that's a single layer. And what that does is it helps to retain the drape of the fabric, the flowiness of the fabric, and doesn't put too much weight on the bottom so that it would change the silhouette. If you made this pattern or intend to, or if you're going to follow along with me, please let me know in the comments. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of content. Thanks again for watching, and happy sewing.